Activate.
Hey everybody, welcome to this Pink Cloud. I am DJ Kelly Reverb.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah,
that's the new one.
That's the new sound
Whatever.
effect. Just whatever.
We are a show that is about multiple pathways to recovery, mental health, and all that good stuff. Speaking of mental health, everybody, give it up for Chaff, Chade, Croissant, Chittleman's, Chadlamons, everybody.
Well, that's quite the intro, brother. Hey, man. I appreciate that, brother. It's been a long time coming, man. So I had that many names, brother.
There we go. That is all your personalities, your multiple personalities.
I've never seen anything quite as flamboyant as a group of flamingos.
we just found out on our last episode that a group of flamingos
It's called
is
a flamboyance.
Flamboyance. That is stuff you learn, useless stuff you learn every day.
Yeah.
And we are both wearing our Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas shades in honor of our guest.
There you go.
This is Miss Joy joining us from the lovely city of Las Vegas. How are you today?
Hi, everyone. Good to be here. I'm doing great.
It is so good to see you, and I appreciate you sticking to being on the show because I know you had a gig that came up that you said no. My new friend Kelly is much more important than money.
Yeah, but that's just because she doesn't know you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, she actually knew of me, not knew me. But now we know each other. Now we're besties.
Yes.
So, but anyway, well, first off, where's your doggy? Where'd your doggy go? Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Her name is Molly Grace, and she's a 6-month-old Maltese.
Oh, how cute. So, okay, so let's frame this episode by saying that you're not necessarily in recovery from substance use, but you are in a mental health recovery, I would say, or mental health awareness. But what I want to do is kind of paint the picture, the backstory of, okay, I believe you came from North Carolina, but then, let's hear the backstory of how you wound up out there and then wound up doing what you're doing and explain to the people what you do. So without further ado, take it away.
Yeah. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your amazing platform. I saw some of the episodes, and I think that what you're doing is really inspirational. So thank you for being a community leader in this.
Well, I appreciate that, and I will take full credit, except for. I know. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to say thank you. That's so nice.
I was going to say
that's
super
nice. That's nice.
I love the Southern accent, and I definitely grew up most of the time, my early childhood in North Carolina, in Charlotte, and
the Queen City.
in the Queen City, and but before that, I was born in Holland, Michigan, and I'm the first to be born in America from my family who came as refugees from Laos during the Vietnam War.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I think that plays like a really big part in why music is so important to me, why dance, and just feeling liberated through this type of expression because my mom's very old-fashioned. My family come from a very strict background, so just going out to raves in the early 90s, the mid 90s in North Carolina, where I found jungle music and breakbeat was really important to my just overall mental health and healing because I felt like I didn't have a way to express myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are technically Laotian.
Yes, I'm technically Laotian.
I just wanted to say that and sound somewhat intelligent.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
like
you're
the
very
French people when they
cultured.
just describe the ocean.
La-
You're like, where's the beach? They're like, in the ocean.
Ah,
You know what I mean? If you're in France.
Chad is just too clever for the room. Uh, so okay, so you're in like your teenage years. You're experiencing the rave culture and then I guess at some point, did we meet or did you just see me play?
I've seen your name in flyers. You have gone to Charlotte, right?
Oh yeah, many a time.
Okay. Yes, many a time.
The
So,
NASCAR
um,
the NASCAR Hall of Fame is located in Charlotte.
I've never been there, but I'm sure it's a really great time.
Yeah, I
I don't know
actually went
anything
there
about
like
cars.
last time I went. Like now that I'm more of an adult, I always do adult things now when hit the road. So
Yeah.
I'll be like top things to do in Charlotte, and it's number one with a bullet, NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Yes, yes. Um, yeah, so being in Charlotte and seeing you play DJ Icy, Baby Ann,
Right.
and
Did you
you know,
think Kelly
AK-1200.
Reverb? Did you think Kelly Reverb was a female at one point?
Yes.
I love that. I love that because I've grown up with that my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a rare name, but whenever I'm like, oh, it's a guy, okay, I get it.
Right. But there used to be an on-running joke like
Or
here.
is it?
There used to be an ongoing joke that Merritt was he had a radio show here called Edge Club, and we would always say Kelly Reverb. She is the hottest female DJ in Dallas, Texas, and there was a long-running joke. So I am very comfortable with in my own skin and with my own sexuality. And
Why did you just stare at
you.
me
I'm staring
when
at
you
you
said that, dude?
because I'm thinking of your pansexuality.
Guards, come get him.
So anyway, so then you're out there kicking it, enjoying the scene, and then how does the math wind up to where, okay, cool, I'm going to pursue DJing, and then I'm going to pursue it in Vegas.
Okay, so yeah, when I turned 19, my parents had sold their house in Gastonia, and they were like, you can stay here in in North Carolina, or you can go to Seattle, where Grandma is, and she's getting older, so we're gonna go to take care of her and just be with the rest of the family. And I felt like I didn't have a really strong like family system if my parents left. And
Mm-hmm.
so instead of staying in Charlotte, I ended up going to Seattle. So I was there for a little bit. But before that, I was at the Baja uh, in Charlotte, and I saw DJ Huda Hudia play his music, and I was just like the energy of his track that he dropped, Drop the Bass. Drop the Bass Now was a song that really ignite this like idea of like vibration in music and how uh professionally like he can just create just a synergy within the dance floor and make people happy. And during that time, moving was not something that I wanted to do. I was really happy being in the Queen City, but I didn't really have much if my family left. So part of that journey was just to find out, okay, I want to do this professionally, and that's the path that I'm going to find. So once we got to Seattle, everyone and their mom is a DJ there. It's
Right.
such an artistic city. Like
What year were we talking?
99 to
Yeah.
2000.
And that was well, shoot, you probably actually know me from there more so than North Carolina because I played NAF.
Yeah,
That
yes.
spot I played. God, I played that spot at least 10 or 15 times, and I hear they're actually trying to bring it back.
I would love to see that. I want to see all the
Yeah,
old heads, and
but
it was such a great brand, and that's where I met Donald Glad and saw
yeah.
his music. Is that where you guys play a lot?
Well, I mean, Donald and I had a song. I actually had a song called "Fine Ladies Only," and it was kind of like what would be considered Jackin' House. And so he put that on his Moonshine CD, and it kind of became one of his signature songs. So we've had like a long history of that, but then we've also, played together so many times, just because, we're kind of similar, in that respect.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
So, uh, with everyone being a DJ in Seattle, I wanted to pursue it professionally, and I felt like there was a lot of like ladders to climb and in the underground scene. Like doing it as a job would be, I don't know how much DJs were getting paid back then, but I would imagine a lot of people would be DJing for the community aspect of it.
Right.
Would you say like,
Well, I
that
mean,
that could
look,
be
I mean,
possible?
it depends on why you're doing it. With music,
Well, I mean, for the
period.
younger cats, like just getting started.
Well, for me, when I got started, I mean, I always just gravitated, and I loved music, period. And I was like, oh wow, I can play music, and I can kind of influence or play what music I like to people, and I get paid for it, and I get free drinks, and it's like there was all these pluses, so I was just like, who who needs college,
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
was like the whole thing, like, and then I mean I went to college for a semester, and I was like, oh, they don't care if you show up, and then so I'm like, oh well, I found my career. I'm going to be a DJ until I'm 85 years old. You don't necessarily
Yeah,
think longevity when you're a younger kid, but I mean, the thing is I have friends like I have a friend in Miami
Mark.
named Mark, and he's probably mid 70s and still playing at Dante's Hi-Fi and doing really badass stuff. So there is
I love that.
longevity, yeah, if you have the joy for it. You like how
Yes,
I circled
yeah.
back and I used your name?
Yeah.
Hey, so I got a
Yeah,
question.
I
I got a
think
question for
mhm.
you. So out in Seattle, were you going to Platinum Records?
I was going to Platinum
And did you
Records.
know one of my besties is Kippy G?
I love Kippy. He was just here
Yeah.
for Super Bowl.
So Kippy G is actually I mean, we're like that good of buddies that we are like he was in my wedding. He was a groomsman.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so
So
cool. What a small world. I would always go there all the
yeah.
time to get those finals.
Right. And Kippy
Yeah.
G he's a great dude, and he's still doing it in Seattle. He's doing the open format, still staying busy. And I think he also works a little bit for Microsoft too, or something. Or I know he does for the Seahawks.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So anyway, so you're in Seattle, and then how does it, how do you end up moving down to Vegas or making that, or what did you establish in Seattle, and then how did you get to Vegas?
I learned how to DJ on vinyl in Seattle, and I was at a party and I met my friend who I consider like my god brother because he was like, "Hey, I want to learn how to dance like you." And I was like, "Well, I can teach you how to dance, but you have to teach me a skill because then it wouldn't be fair, like
Right.
trading skills." So he's like, "Well,
Sure.
I can teach you how to DJ." And I was like, "Awesome." But he really didn't teach me how to DJ. He was more like, "Okay, this is how you do it and this." And I'm just like, "You're like use your words, like you can't just like
Right.
but I end up, having access to turntables and kept on collecting records. And I knew that by the time I turned 21, my siblings, they lived in Las Vegas. So I was like, well, that seems to be like a more sophisticated scene, like when
That's
it
a
comes
party.
to,
That's a party waiting to happen.
yeah, turning just barely 21 and moving to Vegas. So I've been here ever since.
Oh, okay. So wow. So right at 21, you're like drinking
Mhm.
age. I'm in.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
more like, okay, can I play at this nightclub?
Right. Yeah. Can I get in this nightclub
Yes, yes, because
legally?
there's a lot of 18 and over things to do in Seattle. That is so fun.
Right. Well, I mean, shoot, I'm, that old to where I was playing at, I was 18 playing at 21 and over places, but it was like the 80s. They didn't even care. It was just like, meh, you're close enough. Oh, you have an ID that says you're 45. Okay, come on in, you know?
The good old days.
Oh yeah. We had a place called Vicon Village here where you would get the fake IDs, and I had the sweet Louisiana one. Yeah, it was good. Okay, so
Cool.
then you moved to Vegas, and then at 21, do you start DJing right away, or how does it go?
No, I had my two crates of vinyl records
Right.
and just like a small suitcase, and I drove down and I was working at a as a barista and a hostess when I first
Mm-hmm.
moved down here. And I would go to Club Utopia whenever I get
Right.
off of work, and I was like
Shout out Robert
dancing.
Olasic.
Yes, yeah,
Robert Olasic, because I
the
played out
jam.
there a couple of times at Utopia.
Yeah, it's such a solid venue, and I have so much great memories. And
Well, and
but
it was so
when
cool
I
because it wasn't. I loved the thing I loved about Utopia is it was privately owned, so it wasn't like
Mhm.
a Raw or something that's inside one of the casinos, like a super club, like the Omni or something like that. This was its own entity. It was like kind of like we had a club called
Entity.
Lizard Lounge here in Dallas, and
I've been there.
y'all had kind of Utopia, and it was off the strip. I
Hmm.
remember that.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't too far off the strip, and very accessible to everybody. And that was a really great scene. I was there, and I was just dancing and doing like floor work and like top rocking and house dancing. And this woman comes up to me and was like, "Hey, you should audition for our go-go dancing." And I was like, "I don't dress like that." Like I was such a tomboy back then, and I still have like tomboy like attitudes sometimes. But yeah, she told me to go and audition at this club called Rum Jungle. And I was like, okay, it doesn't hurt to try. And that's where I met Michael Toast.
Right. Okay. So stop right there. So Rum Jungle. I remember that Rum Jungle was located in what hotel?
Mandalay Bay.
That's it. Okay. And then I know I that's funny you mentioned Michael Toast because he's the guy that everybody knows that he has the world famous mohawk. Like I mean, we're
Yes.
talking 12-inch mohawk craziness.
Yeah.
And now but now he was in Vegas, but then is he in Palm Springs now?
No, he's still here. He's still
Okay.
gigging and yeah,
Right.
does a lot for the stadium. Mhm.
Okay. So you meet him at Rum Jungle.
Yeah, and just just through dancing and like supporting talent, I was able to get my foot in the door and, just being active with dancing and being myself. I was able to have my first gig at the Rain nightclub, which was like the biggest and I guess the best nightclub in the nation during that timeline. And
Right.
it was
And
fun. I was able to play
Where was Rain located in?
at the Palms.
Oh, at the Palms. Yeah. Okay. And then is Rain still around?
Rain's not around, but it's another venue now. I don't know what it is,
Okay.
to be honest.
And then
Yeah, I think
so Rain, so you started DJing there. Were you doing, because you consider yourself, what you do is more of an open format DJ, right?
I was playing mostly breaks. I was
Okay.
playing just breaks and drum and bass back then, and back then
And
the
they
scene
would
was so
have and they would
different.
have that at Rain. They would let that fly.
Yeah, they
Nice.
let that fly.
I
I
like
was
that.
so lucky. Yeah, I was so lucky.
I was
And
so lucky. I
what?
was cute and could get away with it.
Oh wait, I can DJ too, by the
Right.
way. Yeah, I actually won a DJ battle. It was like a $10,000 DJ battle,
Oh, nice. Are
and
you like, can you juggle and like scratch and all that?
I can scratch. That was like a long time ago when we used to be able to DJ with other people. So I felt like skill level was a lot different for me because instead of DJing for 5 hours by myself, I got to DJ with other people. And when you get on the decks, like especially being like, you're like, oh, she's cute, whatever. She doesn't know how to DJ.
Right.
Like
You're like,
I don't want just my aesthetic to just like I don't want people to
right.
think that. So you just
Yeah.
got to bring it, You have to have
Yeah.
that B-girl like mentality.
Right. No, well, I have to now. Now I'm compelled. Is there footage of you out there where I can see you throwing down on video?
Yes. You can find it on YouTube, but I'll send you stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Please do send me a link because I want to. I don't like. I love it. I love it when I can see somebody that can actually DJ and that have taught themselves on vinyl and actually. I always respect that you've taught yourself the art of beat matching because that is now a lost art because, it's written on your screen.
Yeah, I
You know
get
what I
it.
mean?
And we also have to be compassionate to the new artists that are coming up and allow them to really understand that technology is a gift for all of us. I don't like carrying 6 crates of records anymore to gigs. Like,
Oh,
no, thank
yeah.
you.
Right.
Like, it's so
Hey, so
it's
I got a
definitely a
question
different
for
time.
you. So what were some of your favorite records back in the day, like that you brought from Seattle to
I
to
love my
Vegas?
Mike and Charlie records.
I was good friends with
Um,
those guys.
oh my God, I can't wait to go to Miami for a winter music conference. I get to see everybody. I
Nice.
love like uh definitely Huda Huda. I love Icy, like Low Down Good Girl was a really great
Mm-hmm.
classic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the very like girly stuff too, the remixes that came out of Dallas from the Pinoys
I do not know that, and
and
I'm
like
from Dallas.
DJ Shaolin, of
Oh
course,
yeah, Shaolin. Yeah, of course. I know Radar and
Yeah.
Shaolin. So basically, I was at Lizard Lounge and Shaolin, and Radar, and then they kind of took over the residency. It was me, then DJ Love, then kind of those guys. But they were
Yeah,
more the
so
video
RTM
bar
Records.
guys. Right. Yeah.
But I didn't get their vinyls until later on. Those were like more my newer stuff, but just like the
Gotcha.
classic funky breaks and
Right.
electro breaks.
Cool. All right. Well, I tell you what, let's throw the commercial because I want to get into the mental health aspect that we were talking about and the challenges that you were facing. But we'll throw to commercial right now. And actually, it is your mama's book, and it is called Two Calls. And if they go to twocalls.org, they can find it. But here's the commercial.
Imagine getting that phone call as a parent that your son has been hit by a car and is being life flighted.
2 hours before we got the call, Chad had called me to tell me it was the best day of his life. And then I get another call, and a stranger had found him, and they were care flighting him to a trauma unit, and that he would start praying for our family that we needed to hurry.
You know, when you wake up on the operating table and they're like, we're going to cut off both your legs. And then I wake up and then one's gone, the other one's in an external rod system. It's just not good. The real kicker is that I've had like all of these scars all over my arms, and that's all from complications resulting from drug abuse.
I never thought about giving up on him. Never. This is my son, and I know he's going to be okay. You cannot just have help for the addict. You have to seek out professional help. The whole family has been affected.
And I just want to make that very clear to anybody who's out there listening, that if I can do this thing as much as I've been through, man, there's a lot of wiggle room for people before they get to that point where they can do it too.
And we're back, and that book is actually called Two Calls. If you go to twocalls.org, you can actually buy the book, and then also you and your mama do speaking engagements.
Yes, we do speaking engagements for. We talk about families and how they
Do you talk about family entities?
The family entities and how they need, how they like, you know, the whole family's been affected by addiction.
Right.
It's not just
Cool.
not just the addict that's suffering. So how to kind of heal from that and work on that stuff, and free resources for people that don't know that they exist.
Well, there we go. I love it.
Wow.
And then also we have some new stuff that is out streaming right now, and here it is. All right, and that is the new stuff, and it's going really, really well. We're getting played all over the world. We're on our way to being world famous. We just had our song played on Sirius XM, on Power Tools, which is completely rad. That's like the you have arrived moment.
There's been several dreams that I've had throughout my course of a lifetime. Yes, and two of them have been to be shopping at Tom Thumb while listening to Madonna. The other one is to talk to Madonna while I'm shopping at Tom Thumb. Right, but there was a third one that was recently added, and it was for me to get my new song that Johnny Funk did a remix of me and Kelly Reverb, and have it played on the Power Tools.
Oh, there we go. And it is on there. And dude, by the way, your Austrian accent, your Medenis there, almost slipped into Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah, I forgot I did the Morgan Freeman. We used to do the Morgan Freeman.
Well, you can still do it.
Hold on, man.
Let's hear it.
Wow. There's been a couple dreams from people who are much more qualified than me. But I will have to say, getting a song played on XM radio on Power Tools is quite a dream come true for me. It's not bad.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good for the fly. But it was definitely drifting borderline. But I enjoyed it both ways.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Hi, Chad.
It's just
Hi,
weird
Chad.
when you look at me, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird
Well, is
when you
it
just stare at me.
No, but is it the fear and loathing glasses?
I think so. I think it makes it more. It makes it less personal and more creepy. You know what I mean?
The creepy David Koresh
It makes me feel like a minor, and you're like 40. That's what it makes me feel.
Makes you feel like you're being groomed.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh man.
Well, I've got a place called Neverland Ranch,
Shut the
Chad.
fuck
I'd
up,
like
dude.
you to check it out sometime. Anyway, but that music is all streaming. Please follow the podcast and like, comment, and follow the music. You
Yes,
know?
and tell Madonna we would like to have her on this show because we would love to talk to her. I would like to know her thoughts about being a virgin when she obviously was not, and she made a song called Like a Virgin. I'm not just trying to understand the political emphasis behind the song.
All right. Well, we'll work on that, and now that that's out in the universe, maybe it'll happen.
That'd be sick.
That would be tight.
Yeah, I'll just talk like that the entire show.
There you go. Anyway, so Joy, you're out. So you were out in Vegas, and then so how does it ramp up from DJing at Rain then to where all of a sudden now your job?
Yeah, so that's always been my intention. So I feel like if you have a clear intention, it's a really great, pathway to get to what you wanted to do. I wanted to become a professional DJ, and so I moved down here to do that. I had my first residency at this venue called Club 7, which it was like an after hours, but they started opening up doing like the nightclubs timeline. And my friend was like, Botown, which I thank him. But during that time when he told me this, I was so furious and I didn't know what to do with myself. But I did shift my thought process. But he said, Joy, if you don't learn how to play hip hop, I have to remove you as my residency. You can't play breaks all the time. What resident DJ out there? And I was just like so torn. And I love a great all right, this is a challenge. It's not what I ultimately wanted, but every time I see him, I thank him for telling me that, because I feel like a lot of times my ego will tell me that, oh, it has to be very strict and have to be like this. But DJing open format has allowed me to serve music to so many people, whether if it's like a corporate event or like a nightclub or even like all ages or kids or for charities. And, it's allowed me to do so much. And I love that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, it's you're playing music that people are more in tune with, that people, have
a bigger mass of people.
Exactly.
But I feel like back then, like, it wouldn't have been as more. Nowadays, you can have remixes that are in any genre, so you can fit them into, like, there's probably a lot more break remixes of hip hop now than there used to be, right?
Yeah, it's more of the vibe of like the tempo. And in the early 2000s, like that was a really great. I still love 2000s hip hop. Like, I'm not a
Yeah.
hip hop girl, but I learned to love hip hop because it was such a vibe. It was like a happy time, like from the 90s to 2000s. Like, lyrically, people were still rapping, and it wasn't, everything just wasn't going through autotune, and it was still a really great era for music, I feel like, in the hip hop scene. And I'm sure that there's great music now, but I just don't pay attention to top 40 hip hop as much, only to deliver it to people that
All right.
want
I was
it.
going to
But
say
I
you
don't
have to
really
stay
follow
current.
it.
You have to stay current. You have to get that, whatever the latest is,
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, but then also in open format, especially when you're playing, like business parties and stuff, you don't necessarily have to be cutting edge current. It's like current enough will do,
Yeah, and it's really not about like genres nowadays. I feel like it's about energy and is it relatable? You know,
Right.
if
Yeah.
people that are booking me and at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, like you'll be surprised the age range of like people's knowledge of music and what's current and like all the electronic music is all melding together with like top 40 basically.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, okay, so let's talk a little bit of that. Like, so okay, how did you get to be where you're like gigging, so many days out of the week to where it becomes a mental health issue? And then let's talk about how, you took the time to recognize that and then rectify or actually be mindful of your mental health.
Thank you for asking that question. And this is
Sure.
the main reason why I wanted to be on your show is to just share about the idea that the whole culture of being so busy is like looked at as something very like, oh, it's glamorous to always be busy, to always be booked. And in 2023, my average booking was 27 gigs a month, meaning that
Right.
I did doubles multiple times. I didn't have days off for weeks at a time. My body and my brain was just so exhausted. And I felt like when I first moved here, I didn't take a break until after 4 years is when I took my first like vacation. I
Mm-hmm.
felt like if I wasn't present and out and about, that I wouldn't be relevant, that someone new
Right.
could just come in and just, but all that has like changed my mentality of like wanting to be an overachiever. It's not something that I strive for anymore.
Okay. Like, so you've kind of maybe dialed back, and then just taken your mental health into account.
Yes, yes, just because when Christmas came in 2023, I was working on Christmas. I would work all the holidays, and in my mind, I would think, well, I can work all the holidays because I don't have a family and I don't have kids. And
Right.
so my friends that are all like in this other part of their lives because we all started in our 20s and now they're in their 30s and like everyone is having something. I always felt like, well, I could fill in or I could take that and not really allowing myself to even just live for myself beyond
Sure.
my work because I use my work as a form of um like uh like release too. Like DJing music is so fun and it really helps me with my like processing like any like stress or anything. It's really actually relaxing, but
Right.
overdoing it can really be detrimental.
Sure. Well, and then also, I mean, some people, kids aren't for them, or marriage isn't for them. It's just it's a personal preference. And if it's not, then you might as well, if you're not going to have a family and all that, you might as well fill it up with something, do something you love.
Yeah, yeah, and when Christmas came, I don't normally drink when I'm working because if I'm drinking, I feel like that's a more internal thing that I'm observing. And so if I'm DJing 27 gigs and I'm drinking every day, of course that wouldn't make sense. So I made
I,
a point long, long, long time ago to not drink when I work, and that
right.
came from like over drinking and being
Now, if
sloppy
I would
or
have if I would have taken a play from that from that handbook, because mine was like, oh man, I get to drink for free. Oh wow, and I get paid for it. Okay, let's do it more. you know,
yeah, yeah.
and that was one of the perks. And it's funny that you actually had the maturity to see that, hey, this could be, a problem.
Detrimental to my
if
career.
Yeah, might get a little too sloppy and then make some bad decisions, and the longevity factor is not there, when you're drinking.
Yeah, it's not a perfect road. I cannot claim that it's perfect, but it's definitely a priority that I walk into the space where I'm serving music and I give myself, because when you drink alcohol, it lowers your vibration, and part of our energy work with music is being able to elevate that.
Right. That actually makes it sound important. I'm like, oh, well. And when you say it that way, God, I'm an energy worker.
I'm just
Yeah, Kelly's just a piece of shit.
I'm a light worker.
Kelly just works on low energy frequencies,
right.
brother, that affect your bunghole. The root chakra.
That's right. Dude.
Yeah, dude.
It's all about the root chakra. Yes. Hey, you have to stay grounded.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a perineum sunning.
That's right. Is it perennium?
I don't remember.
Or is it perennial?
No, perennials are flowers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Perineum sunning.
No, perennium.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I don't know, man.
Anyway, we'll look that up later. Anyway, but so you had basically, I guess at some point, worked yourself almost, not to death, but overworked yourself, overexerted yourself.
Yeah, and I have had bouts of depression throughout my lifetime that would come up, and I felt like, like a few years ago, I thought that my life was good. On paper, it looks good. Like I'm gigging, I'm traveling, I'm working, I'm living this like social media type of life where it looks really elegant from the outside, but
Right.
I really didn't have a support system. My one of my family members has schizophrenia, so for me, I always thought that being in the background and not, like talking about my own mental health and what I needed as far as support was valuable, because there's always something that was bigger that needed to be helped. And so during Christmas, I literally had to call 911 for help. And I feel really emotional talking about this because depression is something that will creep up on you. And
Yeah.
I love that, like being aware that not to put alcohol in my body is like something that I need to stay away from when I'm not in the high vibration where I can enjoy it with friends and and over like dinner or something. So
Right.
yeah, I really wanted to share my story because I feel like being so busy, it's like, oh my God, you're so busy, you're so lucky. And it's like, yeah, but like, what does your mental health look like? Like, what
Right.
does your support system look like?
Well, I think that's really important that you point that out, because everybody does see, one side of it. And obviously it can be beneficial career-wise to frame it a certain way and present a certain way on the internet. But, people don't realize, like with DJing, you're in a tube flying across the country, and that can, get old after a while, and it's not as glamorous as it seems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it can be very hard when you don't take care of your basics like sleep, good meals, exercise, these things that we think that because you're constantly working and you need to re-energize more. So I
Right.
told myself that I wouldn't do, in 2024, I said I'm not going to do double shifts if I don't have to. And I did that. And it was such a luxury for me to actually have time off and to tell people no. And
Right.
I, was seeking professional help for um, my anxiety and depression when I was going through this. And there was a time where last year, towards the end of the year, my boss called me, one of my booking agents, and was like, Joy, this is the third time that you've like did a no call, no show. And I was like, oh my God, like I never get this conversation. Usually I just like, if you mess up, there's so much high standards. If you mess up, there's always going to be 10 DJs like that are ready to fill
Right
your
behind
spot.
you. Yeah. Next.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was so grateful. I want to give a shout out to Roger Ganji over at Ultra. And he called me and he was like, I'm worried about you. Like, what do we need to do to help you? And I just started
Mm-hmm.
crying because I was like, I've been going through a really hard time of saying no and of learning how to give time for myself. So I've been
Well,
overbooking
I have
myself
a
even.
question. So, what do you think is going to happen if you say no?
I think what's going to happen is I'm not going to be the first one that people call. And
Right, and
being in a
you
city
have that
since
fear of being irrelevant and stuff like that, huh?
yes, yes. And those are ideas that can never be fulfilled. Like I can never reach that standard because it's imaginary first
Yeah,
of all, and it comes from
yeah. It's a
ego.
goal you constructed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
somehow in your head or somewhere in your family's DNA, it has been
Seriously,
constructed.
my
Yeah.
when my mom came here, she would work like 3 jobs. She was never home. We were like latchkey kids,
Uh huh.
coming from parents of refugees. And the whole thing was that you don't take time off. And my mom would be like, I pray that you work 7 days a week. And I'm like, can you stop praying for that? Because like,
Right.
I need
I'll
a
take
break,
three,
mom.
mom.
You're like, come
Right.
on, like 7 days are like that's normal for us, but it's not sustainable. And
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to work hard and to put love into everything, but if I'm not giving love to myself and watching my mental health, it can just none of it is worth it. It's you can't take it all with you anyways.
Agreed. And I mean, you might as well enjoy yourself and enjoy what you do while you're here. And if you can,
Yes.
sustain a lifestyle that's comfortable to you, then I mean, I want to basically be able to pass away and then be able to look back and go, man, that was fun. Let's do that again.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And okay, so where you're talking about this, I want to say, what do you do currently for your mental health and mindfulness, like that you've changed? Obviously, you've dialed back taking as many gigs, but what else are you doing to kind of keep that in at the forefront?
Well, before I moved to Vegas, when I was living in Seattle, I was introduced to meditation. It was a Buddhist style of meditation from the Dhammakaya Meditation Center in Seattle. And I noticed that doing the meditation allowed me to really focus and be in the present throughout the years. And at some point, I just lost focus of that. And so I've been getting back into meditation and going to meditation retreats and just doing daily meditation has allowed me to really feel like in my body what I need or who I need to be around, who do I not need to be around, what do I need to do for my workflow. And meditation has been the most important part, and also getting a puppy is pretty fun.
Hell yeah.
That's bonus always.
Like this is like
Little
this is
fur
my
baby.
gift.
Right? That's
Yeah.
so cute. That's so cute. So not only that, but then so you were talking about when it got really bad with the depression. What did you do? I mean, because you were like at the point where you had to call 911. So did you actually go and maybe check into a mental health facility, or how did you work yourself out of that severe of a situation?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's a really touchy subject, and it's something that I will continue to work on
Mm-hmm.
and transmute any type of trauma and negativity that I've had throughout my life here, as we all do. Like, we all come into this physical form to learn how to heal all those parts and still serve and give love.
Mm-hmm.
But when when I was 16, it was the first time that it had happened where I was really depressed with my living situation. my parents were very not willing to let me go out or doing. They want to shelter me, and
Right.
there was a lot of high expectations from them. So coming back like each year or throughout my lifetime, these bouts of like depression will still pull me back. That makes me feel like I'm not good enough, like nobody loves me, or like all these things that my inner child is like still healing from.
Right.
And I took some medication, and I was like, I don't want to wake up, it's
Right.
and I was like, this is I'm just so tired and done, and I don't want to wake up. And that
Mhm.
to me is just so alarming that like I was 43. So I'm
Mhm.
45 now, and like it's so alarming that it still creeps up
Mhm.
after all these years. And so understanding that alcohol, which was I feel like it was the cause of it, even though I did make those choices,
Yeah.
uh it, it's not something that I normally did. And on Christmas I was like, I'm gonna have 3 shots of hibiki, like
Uh-huh.
Japanese straight whiskey, and like
Uh-huh.
this is gonna make everything better. But it really didn't,
Uh-huh.
obviously, like I know that. Mm.
Right. Well, I appreciate you being, transparent with that because I can tell, that it's actually, an emotional thing. But I think it's important that, that we talk about, mental health and emotions because, I mean, with it sounds like, you were brought up in a very strict household, and you had certain expectations that were thrust upon you, and then you just latched onto that. And then you're like, okay, well, this is my business model and I'm rolling with it because this is how it's supposed to be done. When you can just realize that, oh, okay, maybe I can actually, take some time away and then I'll be that much more efficient or better, at what I do.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's all I got. But so where can like if people want to book you and all that stuff, where can they get a hold of you? What are you just in Vegas? Do you play on the road? What else you got out
Yeah,
there?
I do travel. They can find all of my links at www.djmissjoy.com. It has everything from my shows, my booking details, and my Spotify, which has all of my tracks, and my SoundCloud. If you want to hear all kinds of mixes on there, there's
Right.
over like 200 hours of music on there.
Nice. Well, and you were just saying because we were talking prior to the show that you're. So it's funny because you're like this breakbeat junkie, but that you produced like recently, like Tech House, right?
Yes. Well, Tech House, I feel like has a lot of the same drums, like the 808s and the 909s. Like
Uh
I
huh.
I love Tech House for
Uh
that,
huh.
like when I started getting to the sounds of it. But I
Yeah.
also thought it was commercial enough to where it wouldn't like take away from the Miss Joy brand, which
Right.
is more open format. Like Tech House
Mm-hmm.
is popular, but I want to get back into breaks and producing, and I don't care what anybody says about breakbeat. Like I love breakbeat
Yeah.
forever.
Hey, man, look, if you love it, do what you love. Don't, just because, abstract realism isn't the most, accessible type of painting doesn't mean you have to paint that way. You know, paint what you feel.
Thank you. Coming from
Yeah.
you, that means a lot because you have a lot in your catalog and you've been doing it for a very long time.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm waiting for Chad to shit on me because somebody said
No,
something
that was
nice.
nice. That was nice of her to say that. You know what I mean? Why would I shit on you, man? I'm a good person, man. You're a piece of shit for thinking that I would shit on you. That's what it is.
Were you?
No, but I was gonna say I'm starting to get more into some of the more like obscure, darker break stuff that's been coming out, because some of it is just really interesting, and it's just like slowed down drum and bass for me, because I don't know, I have an affinity for drum and bass now, and I got a bunch of unfinished stuff since the first one I did came out. So I'm just you know, I mean, we just put breaks in the middle of our other song.
Yeah.
After Kelly said he would never go back to making breaks, we had this part that showed up that ended up being massive in the middle of the track, and he was like, "Fuck it, we're putting it out."
It's funny because like I did this track a long time, literally over a year ago, right? And then I had one of my friends who I respect as a producer. I was like, "Yeah, here, dude. Here's all the unreleased stuff. Just pick whatever you want to remix." And then he remixed it, and I mean,
he beat the shit out of us.
Just smoked it. But I mean, you know, that was a year ago that we had worked on this track. And so it had sat there, and we've, you know, obviously gotten a lot better as we go on. So then he lit it up, and then so we were like, well, we have to
go fix it.
We have to go
now
touch
we have to
it
go
up.
back and compete.
We have to go touch up the original so it doesn't sound like a turd next to his remix.
Yeah.
You know? And so, and you know, it is what it is. And that's the thing. Like, I just don't think, as far as, you know, genre and being genre locked as a DJ does not appeal to me in the least bit, because, I mean, you know, there might be a day where I want to play drum and bass. I mean, I want to be John Summit. I want to be the brand. And when I show up, and whatever I play is what I play, you know?
I love that. And I hope that you will get to that point, because I think you're very talented.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I think you are very talented, and I can't wait to see your mastery of the decks. I am going to quietly stalk you on the internet.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, anybody you would like to shout out? We always like to give the guests. Yeah.
Thank you. I want to give a shout out to Vincent over at Clear Artist Management for allowing me to connect with everyone that is on his roster. I have met so many wonderful people and connected, like, you know, with you. Like, I'm so grateful for the connection. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, cool. Awesome. And then, you know, if people want to go book you, it's Miss MISS Joy, JOY.com.
DJ Miss Joy.
DJ Miss Joy. Okay. Cool. Gotcha. Yeah. And yeah, because Chad actually has the domain of just Miss Joy.
No, I have. No, man. Hey, man.
Hey, bro.
Why are you always picking on me, man? I'm just over here running the ones and twos, baby. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just over here doing it. And you're over here just yelling at me, looking at me weird in those glasses, dude.
I know, dude. It's the glasses.
It's the glasses that creep me out, dude. Like when you wear them, you just don't look right. Hey, whatever the hell you got going on with that whole face thing of yours, man, it don't work. Hey. You know what I mean?
Chad, I really enjoyed meeting you on the platform as well. And I hope
it was awesome to meet you. I just followed you on Instagram and all that stuff too.
That's Chad's way of saying, "Oh, follow me back."
No, it's not my way of saying nothing.
Yeah, that was.
What a jerk, dude.
That was.
Wow, Kelly, way to class this show up, Kelly. Way to class it up.
That's my line. Anyway, but I just want to say thanks for coming on the show. And we've got somebody fantastic coming up next week. I don't know who it is, but I'm sure it'll be fun. And like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. And remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.